Right, hello lads and lasses and welcome back to Boys Down Under It. Today, that was pretty good. I would say that was a pretty good performance, for the most part, and I'm quite happy. I'm quite a happy Celtic fan this morning. But before we go any further, if you guys are enjoying the off-season content and you want to help support the channel, the best way to do so is to click that like button, click that subscribe button. But without further ado, let's get into it. So, 7-0, could have been 20-0 at the rate we were going early on. Sure, Vina Victoria, they were well below the standard that, I expected them to be at, and to test ourselves at. But for our first game and just to build some match fitness, it was good, okay? It was decent, but, we were, it was a very odd way match, it didn't pan out like your normal football match. Vina Victoria were losing the ball so much. They could not string together more than 3 passes, right? And it just sort of, the way they lost it just disrupted Celtic. Our defense never tested, it was sort of just, it was a very weird match and they were incompetent in defense, yeah? But look, the starting lineup, let's go from the beginning. The starting lineup was, as expected, made up of players who have been there since day one of preseason and also Alex Bernabei. And the same goes for the bench, a great mix of youth and experience with B team players and senior players, squad members such as Jamesy Forrest, James McCarthy, Joe Hart, and then the B team players, Johnny Kenny, Bosun Roll, Osaze, they're not all B team players, but, the youth, I guess we could say. And on the bench, like I said, mainly filled with B team players. So 4 goals in 25 minutes. That was great, right? Johnny Kenny had a double, Mikey Johnston had one, and I believe it was Rio as well who had the second or third. Jamesy Forrest, he snuck in for the 5th. Kenny was on a hat-trick, right? He hit the post. He was going to follow up the header, but I think the last thing he expected was Chris Julien from defence just towering over him, heading it in to make it 6 before half-time. And that first half was really, really good. It was... we could have had more. We could have had 8-9 goals in that first half. It was very, very promising, right? Like I said, Vina Victoria, not up to the task, but allowed a lot of our fringe players a lot of minutes and a lot of opportunities to build confidence and to, get into the right mindset heading into the rest of preseason. Second half, loads of changes, not all at once, but gradually as the half went on and at halftime. All we really need to know about the second half and all we can really talk about in the second half is that Albion Ajeti is the worst striker at the club, and that is including the academies going all the way down to under 10s. Now, Rocco Vada, on the other hand, is a very composed attacker, and it's a bit disheartening for me personally. I am actually older than Rocco Vata, so that's I think I'm a whole year older than Rocco Vata. So think of that as what you will. And also Dede, I forgot his first name, but Dede, the other player who came on, I'm also I think 2-1. Yeah, not a good look for me. But anyways, Celtic won 7-0. Good showing. Could have been 20-0. But Ange, in trust and in typical Ange fashion, said it was a decent performance. Nothing special. Wasn't great. It was okay. It was decent. And that's a fair assessment because, we can't, rave on about this as if, we've just won the Champions League, because that's not going to happen until next April. But what we can look at some of the positives and some of the negatives. And firstly, we can take away from this match that Christopher Julien is seemingly determined. I'll give it to him. He seemed like his head was out of the door and it was just his body that remained at Celtic, right? But he, in training recently and in this match, he seemed like he enjoyed his football. He kept his head down. He did the simple things well, and that's all he had to do at centre-back was to do the simple things well because he didn't really have to defend all game. And he even got on the score sheet, which I'm sure every defender loves. But I'll tell you what was even more interesting, right? And to see this, obviously, lack of choices because of the nature and the age of the team we were playing. But the fact he took the captaincy from Joe Hart at the beginning of the second half was quite interesting for me. I thought for a moment it was going to James McCarthy, but look at that. I don't know whether that's a decision he put his hand up for it. Ange gave it to him. I don't know, but it's very, very interesting. Now maybe Ange is having a change of heart on his thoughts on Julien. I'm sure Ange will never have one opinion of a player and let that stick for the rest of their career. If he can see change in a player and he can see a player has changed their attitude, he will give them a second chance. And I think Julian's getting that second chance right now. And he did as well as he had to do in that match, Centre back, he's not going to be spectacular, especially when a team can't attack. He's just going to do the simple things right. And that's what he did. So fair play to him. He seems like he's enjoying his football. Keep it up, mate. Because while Kyle Starfeld's injured, we have a centre-back spot open and free. That's yours for the taking. Now, next up, Bosun Law. Now, all of the B team players, I think, did superb, right? I think they all took their opportunities well, as well as they could, right? But Bosun Law, I think, really had, for me at least, he was just that little bit above the rest of the pack, right? He is, for me, the ideal near-baton replacement heading into the season. He can play defensive mid. He can play centre-back. He's a strong physical player, yet composed on the ball. At 18 years old, right? He's obviously got so much potential. We signed him. He was the Academy Player of the Year at Watford, and we brought him in. It's just whether Ange will want to utilise someone like Bosun Law at such a young age, or he'll opt for someone more experienced for the rest of the season because, right, he's pretty good, Bosun Law. If you play him at centre-back, he has those defensive mid-passing traits. You saw that on show. He got the assist for Mikey Johnston, right? But obviously, he still has room for improvement. But he does look like he has a lot of the fundamentals down. He looks quite polished already for an 18-year-old. I think we can expect to see him very much well and around the first team this season, even if Ange does opt to bring in a more experienced centre defensive mid backup option, right? I'd still expect to see Bosun there, during times of injuries or just even on the bench for that experience. It seems like he's got that extra level of maturity and development over the rest of his B team teammates. Thirdly, Ajeti has to go. Get him out, gone. Not putting up with it again for another season. Get him gone. I don't want to see him in a Celtic jersey in a match that means something. Luckily, that match meant nothing, right? And the fact that we had scored 7 other goals. But no, get him out. Get him gone. Johnny Kenny is ahead of him in the pecking order for me. I'm not overreacting here. I am just trying to prepare myself and the rest of you for the fact that if we ever see Albin Ajeti starting a competitive game for Celtic at striker, I think we might as well, I think doomsday is coming. Because I'm not letting it happen and I'm not dwelling on this. I'm going to end this right here, this little segment. But I'm just going to make this comment seriously. How does a £5 million striker play that terribly? Seriously, against Wiener Victoria. Wiener Victoria. Austrian sausage team. I'm not getting worked up. I'm stopping myself there. Look, we're going to end on a positive. Bar Ajeti, I didn't think we had a bad performance in the team. But obviously, like I said, Wiener Victoria. However, great. I think it was great to see, all of the players not have a bad game, bar Ajeti. I think it does wonders for their confidence. I think it does wonders for match fitness as well. I think the real test will be this weekend against Rapid Vienna. Hopefully all those players get more minutes against someone like Rapid Vienna because I think they deserve an opportunity to prove themselves against a tougher opposition. But we'll also still see a lot of the other Celtic players, brought into this fixture, the first team regulars, right? So I look forward to that. Like I said, it's great for match fitness. It's great confidence boost for a lot of the fringe lads and B teamers, especially looking at players like Mikey Johnston and Johnny Kenny, who didn't really get much, they were Yusuke Itaguchi as well, completely forgot to mention him. He was, I think, showed a lot of positive signs for that game. But overall, in the footballing spectrum, Celtic up here, Rapid Vienna down here. It's as simple as that. But like I said, our first preseason game does wonders for everything. Wasn't a real test. It'll be a decent test, which I'm looking forward to against Rapid Vienna this weekend. And then obviously we'll get the games will progressively get more interesting against like Legia Warsaw, Blackburn, Norwich, and all that. But that is all from me. So if you guys did enjoy the video, you want to help support the channel, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, leave in the comments below your thoughts on the match. Any plays that really, really, caught your eye? I think for me, definitely it was Bosun Lowell and Johnny Kenny. I think them two really did catch my eye in a game where I thought I'd be looking for other players. But until next time, hail, hail.